Hi, Ahdee. I'd like to know a bit about yourself and how you became you.
I had a business that I started in 2005. So, boy, what is that? 19 years ago. That I started, selling dog treats essentially out of the back of my car, going store to store, and, walking in with my little box of treats, and hopefully walking out with an order and a sale. Many times got rejected, more often than not. Got rejected, but kind of licked my wounds and went off to the next store. And fortunately, little by little, enough stores said yes, then no, and just started building it from there. But a lot of scars along the way of growth over those 17 plus years.
I like how you started off with that small project and it led to something tremendous. Now, tell me how you went through some of these challenges and how you prevailed and got out of these challenges.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think that's one of my biggest beliefs, and I think a lot of the things that, particularly younger folks these days, and maybe in our, Shark Tank type culture, where we only see the big successes, right? And you only see these big, gigantic companies that are doing millions and millions of dollars, and they kind of forget that even those companies started off small, right? So all companies, for the most part, start off small, and little by little and over a long period of time build a lot of growth, right? Or get to a point of tremendous success. But all the biggest brands, all the biggest companies in the world, whether it's the Coca-Cola, the McDonald's, to Apple, right? They started small in a garage, going, pharmacy to pharmacy, or starting with one store, starting out of a garage. Yeah. Now we see their big successes today, but they started small and struggled, right? And that was the same kind of trajectory I took. Is started small, and that's also the time where you learn the most. You're learning about what your product is. You're learning about yourself. You're learning about the customers that you're trying to attract. And with time and experience, that's how you get to the big growth numbers that everybody's aspiring to. Now, there's a tremendous amount of challenges along the way, but those challenges lead to success, right? So failure leads to success. Challenges lead to success. There's nothing that just is born successful overnight, or very rarely does that type of success really happen. And now those are the unicorns that we all like to talk about, but it's not usually the reality that most companies, most individuals face. It's usually, that overnight success, 20 years in the making is more of the norm, and anything outside of that is really an anomaly.
What's some advice that you'd give, Ahdee, for somebody who is trying to start business?
There's struggles to every kind of business, and through the years that I had my business, there were plenty of struggles, and I wanted to quit 1,001 times. But just kept on going, and every challenge that came, I took it as an opportunity, not always willingly, but I kind of had no choice in the matter. But what I found is that through those challenges is really where the growth came. As I mentioned, failure leads to success, and struggles lead to success. And that was certainly in my experience. A few examples that I have for that is, on the day that my daughter was born, I also got an email that my number one customer was dropping us, was not going to carry our products, effective immediately. So it was this real yin and yang, like, oh, great, my daughter's being born, but oh my God, I just lost my number one customer. And while that seemed like it was going to be devastating, and it certainly felt that way for a long time, what it caused me to do is get out of my comfort zone. And when you get out of your comfort zone, that's when the biggest growth does tend to happen, and you learn the most lessons. It's hard to realize, but in hindsight, that was because losing my number one customer forced me to diversify my customer base. It forced me to look into other avenues of where my products could be sold. Where else was I seeing success, and how could I drive those sales better? And that ultimately led to our greatest success, is that we really embraced our online channels at that point and really started investing more into that, investing more into our brand, into building our products. And that ultimately led to our greatest success. Another example was there was a period of time when our product categories that we were in were suddenly not desired by customers, or there was a lot of challenges within that category, to the point where people were like running away from the category. And that's like all my bread was in that basket. Like everything was coming from this product category. So it was an existential threat to the business. And again, it seemed horrible, and it was a terrible and rough period of time. But what that forced me to do is to expand and look into other product categories, look into other vendors, and move fast, because I didn't have the luxury of time to just sit and wait and overthink it. So we had to move quickly, find other vendors, find other product categories, and really it changed the whole company, because now we had a much more diversified vendor base. We got into a bunch of other products, and we're able to offer a much wider array of product categories that ultimately led to much greater success. So, the lemon was losing my number one customer. The lemonade was I found other customers. The lemon was that people didn't want our products anymore. The lemonade was we found other products that could service other customers as well. So, even another example of that, we were importing a tremendous amount of our products. So we were importing them from around the world. And then, the ports went on strike. So suddenly you can't get any products in. Or there was a period of time when tariffs came, and where we were getting our products was suddenly a lot more expensive than it was before. Both terrible experiences to go through, but so those were the lemons, right? The ports are on strike. I can't get any product. Where I'm getting my product from is now going to cost me 25% more. Really tough times. Those are the lemons. The lemonade that we made out of that was, one, we started to negotiate with our vendors. So we got closer with our vendors and built stronger partnerships with our vendors. So, which led to better pricing, better terms on how we pay. Two, the tariffs was, wow, I have all my eggs in this one basket. Now I'm going to go to these other places. So we expanded our vendor base again and started getting products from a large, different countries, from different places. So now you're spread a little bit more. So it created for a much better, supply chain for us that we didn't have before. So I always found, and now it's terrible in the moment, it feels like it's the end of the world, and it's a very difficult time. But again, in hindsight, those were probably the best times, and because they really got you out of the comfort zone and changed the entire trajectory of the business.
Wow, you're a go-getter, and the overthinking part I think is just a great point to bring up to everybody, because overthinking can be the downfall of somebody. And so when you don't overthink, like you were saying, like with your business, and you're going to go places, and I think you are going places, and you have gone places. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I want to say you want to think about it, and you want to be strategic. So you don't want to be too just blowing in the wind all the time. But there are times where you have to move quickly, right? And you can't overanalyze. You can't get into analysis paralysis, because analysis paralysis can paralyze you, right? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, because there's never going to be perfect. And at some point, you have to take that leap of faith. You have to go for it, and then you adjust, on the go. But if you're always waiting for perfect, you're never going to start that business. You're never going to, call that customer. You're never going to launch that product. You're never going to do something until everything is perfect, and nothing is ever perfect. So you just have to start and go for it.
Yes, I think that's great. So, is there anything that has inspired you to do since the business?
So yeah, so the place I feel very fortunate is I had some tremendous mentors along the way that kind of straightened me out, and all the times I wanted to jump off the cliff and quit and be done with the business, they kind of aligned me and got me back onto the straight track. So I feel very fortunate that I had three tremendous mentors by my side, if not more, that I met with on a weekly, monthly, regular basis, that I was able to build trust and transparency with. And I think that's really an important thing. So one of the areas that I'm looking to do now is to be that same kind of mentor to other individuals, other entrepreneurs that are going on their entrepreneurial journey, because it can be a lonely road, right? And you think as an entrepreneur that all these other people have all their business together, and they know exactly what they're doing. And it was only later on that I discovered that we're all kind of winging it. We're all kind of trying to do our best with the information we have, and head in a particular direction. And it's really those mentors that helped me kind of see that and align with kind of where I was going. So if I could be, a tenth of as good as the mentors that I had, and provide that kind of value to other entrepreneurs, then that would be really fulfilling for me.
We thank you, Ahdee, for the information that you gave us today, and I think it will be very helpful for our audience to listen to. And I learned a lot from you today, and I really appreciate it. As for everybody out there, thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Kyle Severo, and we are out.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.